The downfall just keeps getting better and better. Vital Farms has been under hot water, steaming, teeming hot water. Whoa, it's a plane going overhead. It's live, anything can happen. But we are a bunch of ignorant hypocrites. We were blaming Vital Farms like, hey, you guys are feeding your chickens corn and soy, but your local regenerative grass feeding, pasture raising farmer also feeds their chicken corn and soy supplement. It just is what it is. And today we're going to dive in and talk about why we're a bunch of ignorant hypocrites. Let's do it. All right. Now I got to run through all the regular things, make sure we're live, all the technical stuff. Okay. And then go on from there. So this is interesting because a lot of people didn't know that Vital Farms even made butter. What's up? It's me, Bill Carson. Hello. You guys, chat will be on screen. Pile in. Let me know where you're watching from. Let's talk shop. So, oh, what was that? What is this? That's not how that's supposed to look. It's supposed to look like this. All right, there we go. What's up, pile in, guys? So let's talk about this real quick. Right now, Vital Farms is underwater, and they are absolutely tanking in their stock. What's up, Dragon? So right now, this is a headline that came out, and I thought this was absolutely fascinating because it's indicative of where the industry is kind of going right now when it comes to the egg business. Let's talk about it. So Vital Farms stock falls on plan to wind down butter business. Now, this is stock talk. I'm going to get into stock talk a little bit here. Now, a lot of people didn't know that they made butter, but Vital Farms is deciding to cut butter. And it's interesting to me because they actually had some halfway decent butter. Like, check it out. This is their butter. 90% grass-fed. They featured a couple farmers. Obviously, when you're doing this at mass scale, you can't feature all the farmers. There's no telling if every farmer on there is actually doing decent with the cows and raising them in the decent way. But hey, 90% grass-fed. It could be an industry captured term. Who knows? But they featured some decent farmers here that have apparently farmed from them. So this is what? This is Andrew and Elaine, some of their farmers. They rotate their pastures. They have their cows not sitting, pooping, and eating in the same area every single day. They're rotating them around, giving them fresh pasture. That's awesome. That's decent butter. Let's look at these farmers, Peter and Enda. This looks like decent food too. Apparently, they also are rotating their cows on pasture. Look, this guy really likes cows, and they're great. They got them on a grazing cycle. So this is actually a decent product, from what I can judge, right? Now, it's nothing like going to your local farmer, but what is interesting is that they are moving away from it entirely. So this is what the CEO of Vital Farms says. Our first quarter performance fell short of expectations as the anticipated changes in industry pricing and promotional dynamics, yada, yada, in the outdoor access egg subcategory had a much greater impact on our velocities than we expected. In like non-stock market terms, they ain't got the money to keep doing this. The overhead's too much because they took a huge hit during the first quarter of this year. Why did they take a huge hit? Industry deception. But we're all wrong, and I want to talk about that in this stream as soon as I can figure out how to move that box. Okay, we'll wait till chat kind of pops to have that box up there. That way it's nice and clean, nice and fresh. So this is interesting. The CEO is looking to cut expenses. Says, additionally, following a comprehensive review process, let me see if I can get this right here. We have made the strategic decision to wind down the butter business. This decision was driven by increased complexity in our international supply chain and more volatile economics. If I ever want to just get away with explaining something and like not have to actually explain it, I'm going to just use the phrase volatile economics. Yeah. It's just volatile economics. Yeah. So exiting butter will allow us to focus on our core egg categories where we have the greatest competitive advantages and see the strongest path to long-term value creation at this time. So yeah, full court hooper, what's up? Yeah, everybody stopped buying Vital Farms eggs, but here's the thing that I want to talk about in this stream, and that's this idea that I guess I want to pose a question as of if they actually deserved all of the hate that they got, right? All of the backed out customers, do they actually deserve it? And I want to explore some nuance here, especially with corn and soy feeding, that I feel like a lot of us were just kind of missing out on. So right here, what we're looking at is just just when they started. So if you never had Vital Farms butter, this is what it looks like. So they're dropping out, right? This started over 10 years ago, and that's a shame that they got to cut it, right? So there's that. This is the dramatic decline of Vital Farms stock. So Vital Farms is the only egg company to actually be publicly traded. And because they're publicly traded, they don't have the small local feeling. They have this big corporate conglomerate feeling. And when you're publicly traded, obviously you got to do things to please your stakeholders to get them a return on what they're investing in. That's why we have a stock market call. What do they call it? An earnings call from the CEO earlier, right? But this is them in the first quarter. And this is what the analysis shows. Shares declined 26% since the beginning of the year. This is the lowest their stock has been since July 2022. Holy moly. So it's interesting. If we just want to really quickly go through what their strategy currently is, it's this idea of damage control. So the farm's executive chairperson and CEO were acting with urgency to restore growth by narrowing price gaps versus other outdoor access eggs, which we believe will reaccelerate our velocities. Goodness gracious. We are streamlining our cost structure and reducing our capex this year. This is why I don't read earnings calls. But this is what matters right here. This just means Vital Farms eggs is about to go from $74 a carton. And no, I'm just kidding. But they typically are the most expensive eggs. I've never seen any eggs be as expensive as Vital Farms eggs. They're about 11 to 12 bucks, 10 to 12 bucks. And what they're going to do is make them cheaper to make them more appealing instead of going ahead and fixing the core issue, which is the fact that they are deceptively using that term pasture raised. And that is what has got them in this deep hot water in the first place. They greenwash their carton, and what they have on there is pasture raised. And I don't have one showing, but the carton kind of looks similar to that butter. But here, let me see if I can pull up a picture. You guys should be familiar. I just want to quickly recap because I really want to get to the corn and soy conversation because I feel like there's a lot that we're all missing. Vital Farms images. Okay, right. So this is a typical Vital Farms. This is a typical Vital Farms egg thing, right? So this is what it looks like, and they say, "Hey, we're pasture raising," but on an expose after expose after expose, I made a video on it. The egg video, it's probably like 3 videos ago. It's not that old. There's another creator who's been just crazy exposing Vital Farms, right? So we all know, we're all caught up on this just about. We're all caught up on this just about. So what's interesting is no one really addressed the fact that these guys got in trouble for tattooing their egg carton with a bunch of lies. And then also, they are feeding their chickens corn and soy. I went to the APACON in January. It was a conference of over 400 farmers, and Vital Farms was a topic of conversation on almost every farmer I talked to, if the conversation came up right. And one of the older farmers I talked to, he talked to it from a very neutral stance. He was like, man, Vital Farms is underwater right now. They're really getting exposed. They're getting, torn down. And I understand it from a consumer perspective, but the consumer is very, they're kind of bandwagoning because there's more education that they're missing out on. And in this one, I want us to kind of focus on that education. And you guys are going to walk away being the smartest grocery and egg shoppers on the face of the planet if you just stick with me here. So let's keep going and talk about corn and soy. Your eyes are about to be opened. So yeah, your local farmer uses corn and soy. But this is how it played out. So we're still recapping, real quick recap. This is Nourish Food Club. They are the people that we can thank for the Vital Farms expose. It's not that they pulled the trigger, but it's that they did the independent study. The lead farmer of Nourish Food Club ran a study with, I believe, Michigan State University, and basically compared up the eggs. This was done in 2024. And interestingly, what we're looking at here kind of paints the picture. Before you even fully understand what a polyunsaturated fatty is, right? This thing here, what a PUFA is, let's kind of look at this plainly. So observing this, we can see that the comparison, first off, is with the total amount of polyunsaturated fatty acids, or PUFAs. And Nourish Food Club does a great job of breaking down why this matters on their website, but we're going to do an even greater job to kind of get you to start thinking differently about omega-3 and omega-6, which are your essential fatty acids. So these are significant numbers. What we're looking at is a 73% less linoleic acid. That's 73% less omega-6 with their corn and soy free eggs that are pasture raised here on Nourish Food Club's farm, which is Angel Acres. When you compare that to the organic pasture raised eggs, pasture raised, quotation marks, from Vital Farms, it's totally different. It's a totally different makeup of the food. And you have this wonderful presentation of less inflammatory fatty acids in the actual egg itself. So this is what they got in trouble for, right? It's this idea that they use the same term pasture raised, but they ain't really coming out with the same numbers as a truly pasture raising farm. And what really blew this out the water was this study had a comparison that the Vital Farms eggs and the other grocery store egg, right? Any grocery store, Myers, whatever you have it, you get the same amount of linoleic acid, right? The essential omega-6 acid, as a tablespoon of canola oil. It's like you eat the egg and you take a shot of canola oil. That's so bad for business. That's so bad for reputation. And that's very clingy. It's something to latch onto, something to expose out, right? So I won't beat us over the head with these numbers, but I want to keep going here. It didn't really catch waves until this guy got a hold of Vital Farms study. So this guy's name is Zeph. I'm in contacts with him. I had to tell him that he's a lunatic because I absolutely love the way he, if you guys are on Instagram, you can just type in like ZEPH. I'm sure it'll come up. But I had to tell him, hey, you're a lunatic for the way that you go after big food. I really appreciate your ability to like be speedy and do these exposés. So hopefully I get to work with him sometime. But he did like seven Instagram shorts or reels back to back, just absolutely blasting out the study. And it got really messy. Vital Farms was actually responding under some of his content like, you're just another creator spewing lies. And it was so unprofessional. Vital Farms ended up deleting some of their comments, but it was ugly. Now, this took place a few months ago. You guys are probably hip to it, but the reason why we're here today is because Vital Farms is obviously tanking, but this gives me an opportunity to educate us on a way bigger issue that I think your local farmer would love for you to know. So if you want to go down the rabbit hole and learn a little bit more about the expose, in case you just weren't tapped in over the last few months, I would recommend Zeph and you go follow and kind of just look, scroll down, go to his page. Here, let me see if I could put it in the chat. Whoa. I have a cold turkey blocker here. This is Zeph. I wish cold turkey blocker will sponsor me. They basically don't allow you to scroll on apps when you are doing work. Gotta reach out to him. But this is Zeph. This is his Instagram. If you want to check it out. ZEPHZOID. My garage floor is better pastured than what Vital Farms puts their chickens on. Respect. I like that middle road. All right, let's keep rolling. It's funny because they basically do put their chickens on garage floor. It's a shame. And this is just a little bit of stuff that I wanted to laugh at. A few of Vital Farms' eggs, keeping it BS free, right? So this is like some of their commercials. Wouldn't it be bullshit to never have more than one square foot of space to work with? That's life as a cage-free hen. Vital Farms hens have plenty of room to work with. Oh look, they're having a meeting. Vital Farms, keeping it bullshit-free. Lies! Why you lie? Why you lie to me? Lies! So if you don't know, the word pasture raised is not meaningfully regulated. It's technically what the industry sees it as they see it as akin to the word free range. The problem with that is free range is only like a few steps above cage free. But I won't beat you over the head with the definitions. Cage free and free range in the industry basically just means the bird is not in a cage. Outside of that, you can guarantee the bird is in a cage, but it doesn't mean the bird is eating grass, and it doesn't mean the bird is definitely not eating organic feed, and it definitely does not mean that the bird ever even sees sunlight for that matter. And that's kind of the problem, because pasture raised is supposed to be the ultimate phrase for a step above. And that's why a bunch of local farms are banding together and they're making these petitions to go against not necessarily to go against Vital Farms, but to prop up a regulated definition so that the word can't be abused anymore. That's kind of the idea. Isn't it bullshit to name your egg company after meadows or valleys or farms? If your hens don't roam on meadows, valleys, or farms, maybe we should call ourselves Vital Actual Farms. Just a thought. Vital Farms, keeping it bullshit free. You lie to me. You lie more. You more lie now. You lie again. What do you mean? You guys named Vital Farms, or I get it, but yeah, it's just funny. I thought this was funny because why you lie? Why you lie? So yeah. So this is what I wanted to get to. This entire stream, honestly, guys, I want you guys to kind of. I act as a bridge between you and your local farmer, and I'm going to explain what that means in a little bit more. But local farmers are inadvertently and intentionally becoming a little bit more distant. In fact, it's because of the way our food system is set up. We do not know where our food comes from. That puts a big hurt on us. And in the room, right, at APRA conference, when I'm talking to over 400 chicken farmers and we're having these conversations and there's these presentations and all these things, they are obsessed with farming. They aren't necessarily interested in communicating with the public. They are too busy doing what they do to be able to feed mouths, right? But there are some things that they wish we knew. And I believe the conversation on corn and soy is one of them. All right. Temperature check in the chat. Happy freaking Saturday. Hello, what's up? Y'all ain't got to work Monday. What's the word? Say hi. Say where you're watching from. It looks like we got like 72 folks in here. Say what's up. Say hi. Pop on in. Say where you're watching from. Don't lurk. Glad to guys you. Glad to have you. Thank you for watching. We're going to be hanging out here for a little bit. I heard of Timcast. Mike So. Colorado. I want to go to Colorado Springs. Aaron Taylor. I want to go. I had a chance to go a few years ago. Some of my old friends went, and I was busy doing this. I'm kind of a homebody. I need to get out the house sometimes. What is that? Oh, okay. Yeah, where y'all watching from? Ruth from Mississippi, what's up? Lurking? I feel that. I feel that. All right. So, this is the truth about Vital Farms. They were never hiding what they were feeding their chickens. Ever. Never, never, never. But we got mad at them because corn and soy have been propped up as these very hot button words in the health sphere. They are volcanic, right? These words, corn and soy, they make a visceral response to those that are trying to be more health conscious. It's like because of this big conversation around seed and vegetable oil and how these foods have infiltrated our food system and have absolutely exploded. It's in everybody's diet. We all have way too much omega-6 in our cells and moving around in our blood. It's this corn and soy hatred that we've all developed. But here's the thing that I thought was very funny. Vital Farms was never not telling people what they fed their chickens because it was never not industry standard across all kinds of farming, local regenerative, I don't know, biodynamic, whatever the case is. When you have chickens, you feed them corn and soy. There's caveats. I'll talk more about that in here in a bit. But I want the people that are watching this to walk away as the most educated consumer there is on the internet. Period, point blank. So here's the lowdown and the dirty. So they say in their FAQ, someone asks, hey, does the yolk color vary on each egg? And what they do here is tell the truth about what they're feeding their chickens. The feed consists primarily of corn and soybean meal. It's right there in our face. Not only that, but the feed also contains paprika and marigold. Now, let me tell you something. I'm just going to leave this rock unturned immediately. We're just going to flip this rock. Your pasture, local, regenerative, grass-feeding farmer is not feeding their chickens, paprika and marigold. And the reason Vital Farms or any big chicken farming company feeds their egg layers that is to dye their eggs. These are pigmented nutrients and they are fat soluble. That means that they can have a great influence on the determining the end color of the egg. And as we know, the darker the egg, the more on the orange side, the more we're able to reach for it. So they're kind of manipulating us because these aren't essential nutrients for the chickens. But they're upfront about it. So it's like, can you really be mad? You know what you're getting? But it's like, also, why? What's the point? So yeah, there's that. And then you also have this very interesting dynamic where even your pasture-raised eggs are sometimes lighter than your grocery store eggs in terms of the color, because your pasture-raised eggs from your real actual grass-feeding farmer aren't getting as much. It depends on the type of grass first off, but they may not be getting, all the chickens don't get the same amount of grass. There's a lot of dynamics when you work with nature, but when you kind of impose your will and try to control things, then you get to get things more uniform. So yeah, what's up? What's up, engineer Ed? What's up? Oh, engineer Redstone. Yeah, reading is fundamental, John. A Scottish engineer in Alabama. Goodness gracious. Your resume must be a blast. All right. So they kept it real this whole time. We are feeding our birds, paprika, marigold, and corn and soy, and that's what we do. So they never really lied on that front, right? So this is the fun part. This is where the ignorance comes out. Marigolds don't seem so bad. Yeah, they really aren't. Paprika, there's this debate if it's too spicy for the chicken, but marigold, yeah, it doesn't seem terrible. It's just this idea that it's a very unnecessary piece of the process in order to feed the chicken, in order to make the pigment of the egg darker, as if it's really being pasture raised. So it's manipulative, but it isn't hurtful. It's just deceptive. And people don't like being deceived. That's why these comments read this way. Why use corn and soy? Seed oil eggs. So these are all on Vital Farms' like Instagram. Every time they post, they just get this flood, right? As far as Sam. Saw some disappointing information on your product. Using dyes to make the yolk darker? Lovely. Pumping your chickens with soy and koi? With soy? Soren. Koi. Oh, brother. All right. With soy and corn? Lovely. You use corn and soy because it's cheap. Just be honest and stop lying to the consumer about why you use it. We all know corn and soy is, in fact, not nutrient dense. Holy moly, she's going off. That's the biggest cop out ever. I'm so disappointed and I'm changing brands immediately. Goodness gracious, Blair Whitlow, hit me up. Let's have a conversation. Let me get you hooked up with a local farm. Shame on you, Vital Farms. You just lost another long-time loyal customer. Corn and soy make people sick. Oh man, now we're talking. Corn and soy make people sick. You've taken one of the healthiest foods on the planet. Now, I agree with that. Eggs are objectively one of the most healthy foods. Eggs are a superfood, especially produced the way that nature intends. Bruh. You've bastardized it for your own gain through unscrupulous manipulation. Goodness, this person reads books. Are you guys going to debunk that you're feeding your chickens corn and soy? No, they won't, but I will. I'm about to do that right now. Mr. Trust, soy and corn? Yes or no? Stop deflecting. Stop deflecting. Right? So they got all these comments, right? Check out Bennett Farms, Amore. They deliver in Michigan. I'm not sure everywhere in Michigan, but they deliver even out here to Chicago. So I'm pretty sure they're touching a lot of spots in Michigan. Yeah. Bennett Farms, Bennett. I actually just did some work with them. Johnny, you went from general science to very into this whole farming thing, like very into it. I smell a girlfriend. Hey, back up. First off, all right, back up. I'm single, all right? I did, though. I did kind of do a deep dive. It was natural. I'm not going to lie. People are very interested because here's the thing. See, now you didn't throw me off. Now, if I get a girlfriend through talking about agriculture, now we can talk. But no, there was this very fascinating pivot point when, what was it? Oh, you know what? Veritasium did a video on like why farmers can't replant their own seeds. That thing went mega viral, and it was a entertainment indicator for what people have an appetite to watch at this time. I made a video or two about chicken and eggs and farming and all that stuff. And those were like my best performing videos of last year. And they just kind of reinforced this idea that, oh, wait, we are very removed from the source of our sustenance. Let's get back on track. And people are eating up this content. And that makes two of us because I'm eating it up as well. I think it's so interesting. Let's hit play on this. You're going to leave me alone. Is it Junior Ace? You're going to leave me alone, Junior Ace. All right. All right, let's watch this. Have you guys seen Farming While Beige? Oh, by the way, we have some more general science stuff coming real soon. You guys just wait until you hear about some of the scientific capture that's going on and on the government and institutional governmental level right now. It's getting to the point to where it's impossible to talk about science without talking about politics, and that's really hard for a person like me that generally ignores politics. But it's like, if you don't address it, then you're kind of like that one person that doesn't address the elephant in the room. More on that to come. But let's keep talking.
Son, we live in a world with mouths, and those mouths need to be fed by men with...
Oh, sir, actually 4 in 10 farmers are women.
Men and women with farms. Who's going to do it? You? You, Mr. Internet Commenter? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for these Western diseases and curse my cornfields. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know. That while the side effects of monoculture may be tragic, they probably saved millions of lives from starvation. And while my existence, which may be grotesque and incomprehensible to you, nevertheless saves lives.
Oh, sir, there's research that suggests that deaths from famine are being replaced by deaths from chronic disease.
You have the honor of dying from diabetes instead of starvation. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want corn and soy. You need corn and soy. The high energy and high protein miracle crops that can grow in any climate from the tropics to the desert and made animal protein affordable to you peasants for the first time in history. Do you want to be some stunted bean-eating peasant towered over by some noble tyrant chopping his venison? I didn't think so. We use words like glyphosate, chlortetracycline, ammonium nitrate. These are words that are the backbone of a life spent feeding people. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps with a belly full of the food that I provide and then criticizes the manner in which I provide it.
Oh, sir, he's a taxpayer and part of his paycheck pays you. Research suggests he's entitled to an opinion.
No! I would rather you just went on your way and said thank you, or take out an FSA loan and crop some rows. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you're entitled to! Do you feed your hens corn and soy? I do the job. Do you feed them corn and soy? Goddamn right I do!
Okay, so Farming Wild Beige is an absolute lunatic, right? And I love that about him because, yeah, someone said Bicycle Frontier, he's so based, right? So he's grounded, he is straightforward, and he's absolutely telling the truth. He says, how can you go to sleep full stomach on the food that I provide and then criticize the way that I provide it? He's being funny, but he's telling the absolute hidden truth about farming, and that is on the regenerative small side, right? So this guy's a farmer, just to add more context. He's a great pasture raising farmer, right? I believe out in Washington, I want to say. Hopefully I can go visit that farm real soon. But the truth is, we do a lot of critiquing of this corn and soy feeding and then go around the corner and then eat it. But there's this kind of mob mentality that we're taking to the way that our chickens are fed. And we're still not really realizing the necessity of corn and soy, almost on a very practical level. And we're going to talk about that here. Now, there's a lot of caveats and a lot of nuance, but I just want you guys to walk away being very, very smart when it's all said and done. So let's keep going. But yeah, this is Jeff Maddox. So Jeff is a straight shooting, no sugarcoating, tell it like it is kind of animal nutritionist. He's been doing this for years and years and years. I met him in Florida when we were at the chicken conference, the Pastured Poultry conference. I had the amazing opportunity to sit down and interview a very just intuitive and smart farmer. And this guy was in the room just kind of listening to us speak the entire time. And he seen one of my videos and he was like, man, I love your stuff. One thing you got wrong out of the whole video. And he was like, yeah, only one thing. And that is the chickens aren't really given antibiotics routinely anymore. I appreciated the straightforwardness, like out the gate. You're like, yeah, I agreed with everything you said, but one thing. It's just like, oh yeah, this guy's straightforward. I can rock with you. So yeah, this is Jeff Maddox. And I emailed him. I'm like, hey, you do this for a living and you're hecka smart. And you sent me links during the interview. You just know stuff. So he's big into the pasture raised scene. And he's an absolute professional and an expert. So we shot him some straightforward questions. And I think this is some stuff that you guys need to hear. Is this a spoiler alert for carnivores? What do you mean by that? Is this a big old wound up for the promotion of the carnivore diet? No, if that's what you're asking. So question, a follow-up for, actually just kind of ignore this question. Let's just read the blue. So this is Jeff's words. Farmers over the years have become more reclusive. They don't always like to associate with the general public. During this time, they have given over their marketing to brokers, corporations, and other businesses to market their products. Whenever this happens, the farmer is giving away profits. If you spend enough time with a group of farmers, you will soon learn that they like to talk with other farmers. Double tapping on the thing that I said earlier. They're just distancing themselves, and it's not because I'll talk a little bit more after, but they don't communicate well with the end consumer. The end consumer doesn't really know how to communicate effectively with their farmers, and it's not the end consumer's fault, and it's not the farmers' fault. It's just the fact that the way our food system is set up, it drives this hidden wedge between those two parties. And what we end up getting is this very distant this very distant relationship between the person that makes the food and the person that eats the food. Farmers who can we end up with a communication gap. It has been this way as long as I can remember. Farmers who can successfully communicate with the consumer tend to have a better financial situation. Look, consumers have crazy expectations and envision animals living in a fairy tale world. The farmers are much more common sense and realistic. They don't deal with unrealistic expectations. You were fortunate enough, so he's referring to me, to visit Pasture Life Farm out in it's neighboring Jacksonville, Florida. You have seen the reality of how their animals are raised. The bunny huggers have no clue how their food is raised. That deserves a highlight. The bunny huggers have no clue how their food is raised. They want to live in their fantasy that all animals are raised in fresh air, sunlight, free roaming, and happy. That is not reality. I actually just visited a farm, and this was Monday, my local egg farmer. And we were just walking, looking at the farm, and one of them said that they had a visitor recently ask them if they had
Thank you for your patronage.
Dang! Thank you, Nancy! My voice. Whoa!
Thank you for your patronage.
I appreciate that. Where's the applause? So thoughtful. I appreciate that. That's really cool. W's. Let's go. Guys, if you got gifted, it probably does it at random. Thank Nancy for gifting you membership. That's so freaking cool. Let's go. I appreciate that. That means a lot. What was I saying? So yeah, I was with them, and he said they recently had a visitor, and the visitor had asked an interesting question. It was the dead of winter. There was snow on the ground, and they were exchanging eggs. So they were buying eggs right off the farm. And they asked the farmer, they were like, hey, have these chickens eaten grass? It was the dead of winter. And that is what Jeff Maddox is getting at here. We are so distant from the way food is grown, and our food system has pushed us further and further away from the source of our sustenance to the point to where even smart questions, right? I should say investigative questions, right? You want to investigate your food. That even smart investigative questions can be dumb, right? That's a smart question and you should ask. But we're so caught up in the world of the internet and what's kind of being conveyed that like, hey, our farm animals need to be eating grass. Yes. But to what extent do we start to employ a little bit of common sense into that logic and look around you? If there's no grass and there's snow everywhere, how can the chicken eat grass? Now, I'm not blaming that consumer because I think I'm the kind of person to ask a stupid question kind of like that too. The teachers say, there's no stupid questions. I'm that kind of teacher, but farmers don't say that. Some farmers be like, yeah, stupid question. But so this is the reality of what we are dealing with right now. Our pasture raising farmers are absolutely, your local pasture raising grass feeding farmer is absolutely feeding their chickens corn and soy. And I think this farm, Shirt Tail Creek, does a great job of kind of explaining why they still do that. Oh!
Thank you for your patronage.
Dang!
Thank you for your patronage.
Had to hit it a few times. I'm hitting every button. Let's go. Thank you, Nancy, once more. Nancy's balling out of control. Guys, thank Nancy for your gifted. Don't y'all get like an emoji or something for that? Did I make some emojis? What is that? Like you get to have back access on the content and stuff? Nancy, you gonna make me make some more content? Thank you so much. Middle Road says, I was raised on an organic beef farm. It was a totally different world than today. Yes. Totally different. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Nancy, once more. Let's look at this. Oh, we can't hear this.
and some articles I've seen, and we've been getting calls about this, about a large publicly
Okay, so
agriculture. Lately, there's been a lot of talk on social media and some articles I've seen, and we've been getting calls about this, about a large publicly traded pastured egg producer that is feeding corn and soy to their hens. This information is kind of being presented as if it's some sort of a scandal or surprise. It is not a surprise, and it's not new. In fact, corn and soy have been the basis for livestock feed rations for beef, pork, meat chickens, and laying hens forever. And the company in question certainly has like a conventional corn and soy pasture-raised egg. They have an organic, probably corn and soy fed pasture-raised egg, and then a soy-free option, sometimes a soy-free organic option. It's hard to find corn and soy-free eggs at the grocery store for whatever reason.
you will never find corn and soy-free eggs at the grocery store. Not once in your life. Not a typical grocery store. Not one.
Whatever reason. Now, we feed a corn and soy-free ration to our laying hens at SureTail. We feed a corn and soy-free ration to our pork at SureTail. Of course, our beef is 100% grass-fed and finished, so there's no corn or soy there. Our meat chickens do still eat a non-GMO corn and soy-fed ration. We had a hard time getting our meat chickens to grow economically without corn and soy in particular, because it's got the perfect balance of the top 5 amino acids that poultry need to grow. And
don't miss out on that. His meat birds are eating chicken that his meat birds are eating GMO free or non-GMO corn and soy.
So we've tried it and we lost our butts financially. So we still feed corn and soy to the meat birds. We're working on that one. I would say that if having a low PUFA diet is important to you, or simply just making sure there's no corn and soy in the feed that your animals that you're eating are consuming, as consumers, we have to take some responsibility to go do some research, gather some information. Most producers will provide information on what the animals are eating on their websites, and if not, you can seek that out. Now, this makes a great case for sourcing from small farms, because it's certainly easier to get that information from most small farms, more accessible, than it is from big corporate-backed producers. And so I'm a huge fan of sourcing from small farms like ours.
We're one of the
and yeah, that's important. Some key differences between the big guys and farms like us is that, you know, the bigger companies are either in some cases publicly traded, or they're backed by private equity investors or whatnot. So they're beholden to shareholders and investors to maximize revenue growth and profitability. And this guides their decision making in terms of how those businesses run. So they need to maximize efficiency.
This is becoming
sometimes when you maximize efficiency, you lose the integrity of the product and the product quality that you're trying to achieve as a sustainable, regenerative farm. And so that's why it can be hard to scale operations like that. And that's why our farm will probably never be some giant thing, okay? We are not beholden to shareholders or investors. We're beholden to ourselves and to our family and to our staff and to our customers. And so we are guided predominantly by our mission, which is to produce high quality, nutrient dense, unadulterated food using regenerative practices and in a way that leaves our soil and environment in better shape than when we found it. That's the goal. We want to add like a net benefit to the food ecosystems in this country. And so I think sourcing from small farms is the way to go. We're never going to sacrifice the integrity or quality of our product for profit. And I can't necessarily say that of the big guys. But having said that, I don't think the big guys need to be raked over the coals for feeding corn and soy. That's their choice. And if more customers made a stink about it, maybe they'd switch to a corn and soy free ration. I don't know.
Talk your talk, Shirt Tail. Yeah, talk your talk, Shirt Tail Creek Farm. So that remove everything you know about anything. Just address the human level of eye-to-eye conversation and transparency from the person that makes your food. For that, we applaud those kinds of local farmers. But I wrote down some interesting questions as that was going on. Nurios, you asked, is it that hard to get them worms and bugs? And then algorithmic or the overhaul, you said, as long as it's non-GMO, question mark. So Jeff, I asked the same exact questions, and we're going to get our answer today. But I think what you guys know about eggs will also change in this conversation. So stick with me here. So what are the differences between the corn and soy used by pasture raising, grass feeding farmers and the corn and soy used by conventional farmers? Now, as we kind of go through some of the visuals here, I'm just going to have a video playing as we kind of go through this, some of these talking points, because why not? So this is the Pasture Life Farm that I visited out in Florida. And great farm. More than a great farm. If we can learn how to open it. Oh, is it an MTS file? What does that even mean? Oh, it's not making... So we won't have any audio anyway. But just kind of have that kind of going as I speak here. So yeah, just to kind of double up. So the you can't really see that, can you? Then that makes that go away. So we'll just kind of hit him with this. A little side to side action, perhaps. My teammates on the track team used to always say that. We ran distance, and like sometimes, you know, when you run in college, they're like, hey, what path do you want to run? Like this one's 5, that one's 5. You go there and go there. And it's like they throw out a certain path, like, oh, we'll do the river run, and then one of the guys, he would always like look at you. He'd be like, perhaps. It was like him saying yes, but I don't know why he put it that way. It stuck with me. It was very funny. So yeah, anyways, what are the differences, if any, between the corn and soy used by pasture raising grass feeding farmers and the corn and soy used by conventional farmers? Well, I think we just kind of heard it from our friend from Shorttail Creek. Many of our community of pasture-raised poultry and pork have a tendency to choose their either non-GMO grains or certified organically grown grains over conventionally raised grains that would be genetically modified. I'll just kind of read all of this kind of because it really explains it. The genetic modifications are mostly to allow different types of herbicides to be used during the growing seasons. Because if you didn't know, nature resists herbicides, right? So how can we skirt that issue? Well, we can just genetically modify the plant to where it doesn't resist herbicides, which is the GMO and herbicide system. So we find that many, not all, grass-based farms lean towards less chemicals used in general. This would include herbicides, pesticides, warmers, and antibiotics unless absolutely necessary. So yeah, that's the key difference. It's still a breath of fresh air because even though your pasture-raising grass-feeding farmer is feeding their chickens corn and soy, it's the sourcing of the corn and soy that makes up all the difference. But we're still faced with a really big problem here. If we're still being fed corn and soy, and as we know, corn and soy are coming with this prominent percentage of omega-6s, then are we still dealing with the problem of overbearing our body with too much omega-6? GMO or not, pesticides or not, are we still running into this problem of way too much corn and soy infiltrating our food system and overbearing our bodies with the inflammatory omega-6? So that's a valid question, and it's one that we'll answer very plainly here. So, 15. Where are my notes? Organize my notes. Having a great day. Hey, if you guys just jumped in the chat, say where you're watching from. Freaking Nancy dropped a bomb on us. You might even have a membership out of nowhere. So the birds need some more variety than just the corn and soy, perhaps. Yes, I like the uses of perhaps their algorithmic overhaul, and yes, but you won't get that in a conventional system. In a conventional system, it's literally just straight up corn and soy. But I really want to dive into some of the nuances and why this even matters and why this is important as this cute little video continues to play. And you guys see like a real farm, real working farm that I was proud to visit. But here's the question to ask. Why do pasture-raised animals need extra food beyond what they graze? This is a great question. I wish more people would ask it. Ruminant animals such as cattle, goats, sheep, and other non-ruminant herbivores, horses, camels, alpaca, and llamas are equipped with a digestive tract designed to digest forages. If our grasses, legumes, and forbs still had adequate nutrients, this group of species would do very well on forage alone. Over the centuries of farming, many of the nutrients have been mined out of our soils. The plant species growing there are not as mineral rich or nutrient dense as they were when our country was founded. The animals listed above can still live good and productive lives on a grass or forage only diet. The other meat or egg production animals, swine and poultry, so chicken, do not, or turkey, I guess, do not have the same type of digestive system. They are more of the carnivore category. What? Sorry, that doesn't say carnivore. Omnivore category of species. Their digestive thrives on a diverse diet, right? Just algorithmic, you were just saying that. A combination of some forage, nutrient-rich. Slow down, Johnny Dixon. Nutrient-rich seeds, nuts, pods, along with meat-type proteins. True monogastric species, which are our poultry and our pigs, will struggle to survive on only vegetation diets. They do not have the digestive space. Dang, did my camera die in that? That was violent. Here, let's put up another one. It's a different one, right? Yep. Yeah, just watch those birds. Watch those birds having their fun. Michigan here. What's up? Yes, good question, Nancy. Do they like worms? Yes. So as many previously, seeds, nuts, animal or insect protein with fresh forage only being about 5 to 10% of their diet, right? So people often think, how do they survive in the wild? If a person observed these animals in the wild and examined what exactly they were eating, they would soon know these species' digestive tracts are filled with what is seasonally available. This would be reptiles, insects, rodents, and dead carcasses of other animals. Swine and poultry have been classified as omnivores. However, they lean closer to the classification of carnivores. What the heck? This is an animal nutrition Jeff Maddox, by the way, expert and an absolute beast in knowledge. So show a chicken or pig that has any instinctual intelligence, a piece of raw meat, they will soon show you their carnivore instincts. So I always used to say, like, yeah, chickens are omnivores, but this is just an interesting nuance that chickens. So I visited a farm out in like Illinois, like almost suburban Illinois. They got about 1,000 birds. Some of the eggs were like half cracked. So I seen the farmer take some of the farms as I was pulling up in the driveway. They took some of the eggs. Sorry, they took some of the eggs and chucked them into the field. And the chickens absolutely hounded these eggs and started eating away at the yolk. And it was in that moment I had to ask, "What are you doing?" I yelled it out, and he said, "I'm just feeding them some of these discard eggs." And later, after we talked, I gave it a shot. There were some more discard eggs. I took them and I threw them out. And the chickens flocked to eat the yolk. And then one of the other farmers was like, "Oh, hey, they just arrived. What are you guys up to?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing, feeding chickens themselves." It was so interesting. Chickens eat eggs. Like, chickens are beasts. Like, I've heard anecdotally, yeah, chickens will run after rats. They'll eat, but one of the farmers there said, yeah, chickens are basically little dinosaurs. They'll go after anything, right? So yes, they absolutely eat worms. Yes, they absolutely eat their own eggs. Yes, they absolutely eat very small insects. Even sometimes they'll go after small little mammals, right? So it's interesting. It's interesting. Truth over facts, but do you buy air chilled chicken though? Yeah, so truth over facts is referring to when you get your chicken and they slaughter it, there is this process where you can get it water cooled or air chilled, and water cooled is just a little bit unsanitary, at least in theory, at most by facts, but I'm not sure of the facts, to be honest with you. So air chilled is this idea of the chickens not going through the process of being submerged in a bunch of water and kind of floating around with each other in the same kind of stuff after it's just been slaughtered. I will say it's hard to get air chilled chicken, although I do think that is a cool way to make sure you're getting chicken that hasn't been sitting in a bunch of water right after its slaughter with a bunch of other chickens, right? I've had air chilled chicken, but it's hard to get. It's hard to get. I'll be honest on that one. So let's keep going. How does supplemental feed affect animal and environmental health? This is all I want to say about this. At the end of the day, supplemental feed is to grow an animal faster. That's all it's for. That's the entire point, right? Now, when it comes to eggs, it's more on a practical standpoint, right? If you give a chicken eggs, if you give a chicken corn and soy, they don't necessarily produce more eggs. In fact, there's a little bit of research that suggests the opposite. But sometimes that's all that's available. If you farm out here in the winter and there ain't no grass, ain't no bugs, then you're going to have to feed them something, right? And again, as Jeff put it, chickens are going to eat what is seasonally available. And that's kind of the big ticket answer here. All right, now for the fun part. Let's talk about PUFAs. Let's talk about PUFAs. All right, we're about to get real nerdy, but I swear this information can absolutely change your life for the better. We're about to get into it. I love talking about dietary fat, saturated fat. As someone that studied nutrition closely and started making content on it, I've always gravitated to nutrition, fats. It's just a fascinating conversation. So much deception, so much confusion. But if you have clarity, but you're gonna have clarity in the next hour or so. Goodness, I'm looking outside. It looks so peaceful. So my neighbors are millionaires. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. I'm out here in Chicago. It just kind of happens block by block. You can have a really nice apartment kind of thing going on. Then your neighbor could be a millionaire. It's just how it's set up, right? So both my neighbors are in their backyard. So I have two millionaire neighbors. I'm literally looking at them right now. Both of them are in their backyard. One is watering the grass. Okay, so one of my millionaire neighbors moved in, right? So this is the house right next to me. And the backyard was bland when he moved in. Since then, he's progressively added more and more stuff to his backyard. I was so tempted to record the stuff he's added to his backyard. He added like a miniature like Stonehenge. He has a fountain, an automatic fountain. He has so much shrubbery and greenery. It's insane. And he has like a lot of flowers and a bunch of stuff. And he's added it over progressively. And I wanted to record it and put it on like TikTok or something and say like, my millionaire's neighbor backyard over time or something like that. I thought it would go viral, but I lost the opportunity. Yeah, it's nice. He has like stone slabs and like vines. It's crazy. Hopefully you guys can all be millionaires one day. All right. So, PUFAs, let's talk shop. This whole idea behind omega-3 and omega-6. I'm getting excited. So, this idea behind PUFAs. PUFAs are polyunsaturated fatty acids. And really quickly, I just want to talk about why these are even relevant in the first place. So this is what matters. PUFAs determine your omega balance. Remember that word. Your omega balance dictates parts of your metabolism in a very vital way. Parts of your metabolism, this includes cell communication, fat metabolism, and immunity are some of the important ones. We're going to talk a little bit about immunity here, but just in general, it's important to understand omega-3 and omega-6 because omega-3 expresses anti-inflammatory properties. Omega-6 expresses inflammatory properties. And these little boogers nestle themselves right on the edge of all of your body cells. Not some, not a few. Every single one of your cells in your body is performing a balancing act through what you eat to balance out the omega-3s and omega-6 making up its cell membrane. So these little things lodge themselves into the cell membrane. In fact, they are actually what our cell membranes are made out of. So omega-3 and omega-6 have a place. They have a home. They aren't this wispy, floaty idea in science. These are things that actually have a visceral metabolic effect in the body. So now that we can kind of contextualize the location of them, we know that they are on the outskirts of our cells, right? Consider they are the walls of the cell membrane, right? So I can knock on this wall right here. Let's say my wall is a cell. All of this wall is made up of omega-3s and omega-6s, right? So I'm inside, I'm the nucleus, and this is the wall. It's important to remember that because then you can kind of understand how it impacts all these other things. Cell communication. Your cells communicate through the membrane, right? So the omega-3 and the omega-6 that makes up the cell is going to determine its ability to, it's going to impact its ability to communicate. It's going to impact its ability to metabolize fat. So the better way to say that is the omega-3 and omega-6 has a heavy influence on what ends up happening with your body fat, specifically through a mechanistic action through insulin. So insulin, we know as that nutrition buzzword. Omega-3 and omega-6 have the power to influence your blood sugar. It's an insane concept because we have this idea that omega-3 and omega-6 is fat. These are fatty acids. So all we can think about is lipids, right? Lipids is the scientific word of fat, right? So it's a lab coat name, right? But we keep thinking fat centric. But these omega-3s and omega-6s, these essential fatty acids are so powerful that they can influence what happens in your blood sugar, thus impacting your body's fat. It can literally put a lock on your fat stores through a mechanism. I explained in a video, actually. That video is right here. So this video is called, this could be what's keeping an extra 15 pounds on you. If you got a little weight to shake, this video is nerdy. Don't get me wrong. But it's in the description if you got a little weight to shake. You don't got to expose yourself in the chat. You just got to go check out the video. You ain't got to tell me. Just click. Good thing the views are anonymous, all right? I ain't gonna judge you. But if you got a little weight to shake, specifically if you're one of those people where it's like, man, I tried everything, strength training, whatever, cardio, calorie counting. I tried all the traditional methods. You may have something in your diet that you did not know was influencing fat to stay right where it is. And it's the balance, it's the concept of the omega balance, this omega-3 to omega-6. It's so important. I can't stop talking about it. Check that video out if you want to learn more. But I say all that to really underscore and emphasize that this does matter. I know a lot of the spotlight is on sugar intake and all of these other things, seed oils, right? This all matters, but this is kind of getting at the root. So when it comes to the idea of immunity, omega-3 and omega-6 lodge themselves in the cell membranes, and they have the ability to express impacts on inflammation, right? Either dial it down or dial it up. This is the concept that's talked about often in John Anthony Holbert's book, The Omega Balance. It's a great read if you're one of those people that actually want to know like the physiology behind this stuff. But he talks about it. Super giddy Australian man. He's just jolly and happy to talk about science. So interesting. Did Pam join? What's up, Pam? Thanks for being here. What's up? What's up? So this is the idea behind omega fats, particularly omega-6. We know that this has the ability to communicate and send out signals for inflammation. It's pro-inflammatory. Now, that's not necessarily innately a bad thing when the body is inflamed. It just means that it's trying to get rid of something. It's an immune response. That means your body is working. But what we know about omega-6 is that when it is overexpressed on the cell's membrane, so when there's too much omega-6 on the cell membrane, you get into this realm of chronic inflammation. And from chronic inflammation, I mean, you can name the disease association: fatty liver, obesity, heart disease, autoimmune disease, and a whole slew of those, right? Freaking arthritis, dermatitis, you pick one, right? I even put that, honestly, you pick the disease, right? When you talk about chronic inflammation, migraines, stomach aches, it doesn't matter. Any disease under the umbrella, it's all impacted by inflammation, and it's worsened by this chronic inflammation, right? Almost any disease under the sun, right? So Truth Over Fact says, can you balance omega-6 by increasing omega-3s? Yes. So we're about to tie in how the egg conversation even matters in all of this. And you guys are going to walk away with so much certainty on omega-3s and omega-6s. You're about to see it in a light you've never seen it before. And honestly, anytime someone talks about omega-3s and omega-6s after this, I want you to use what we're about to talk about and overlap your logic. Like, apply what we're talking about, and you will always walk away with clarity. Because sometimes we talk about these things and we end up a little bit more confused than how we walked in. And this will get a little sciencey, but I promise we're gonna be all right here. So yeah, so omega-3 and omega-6 have this profound ability to shape your entire metabolic makeup. So if you want to get a serious grip on omegas, actually, there's this other video here. So this is also in the description, under the title, the seed oil video. Some of you guys seen this already. I believe, not to toot my own horn, but I believe this is the most comprehensive video out on seed oils, period. It takes you through the idea of seed oils and how that relates to omega-6 and omega-3 balance, and then how that impacts your health outcomes. And then the fat one is there if you guys want to just learn a specific health mechanism behind how omega-6 has the ability to keep you fat. I'm more fascinated by the science than anything.
Thank you for your patronage.
Dang! Let's go. Oh, Nurios, I got you. Some omega supplements. I got you. Y'all gotta ride. You gotta ride out with me. Hey, Gigi Ma, what's up? Good to see you. What's up? You gotta ride with me. You gotta ride with me. You gotta nerd out with me. You gotta sit back. Let's get some popcorn in the chat. Let me know that y'all listen. Let me get some popcorn emojis or some. Goodness gracious. All right. I'm about to spit to this. Let's go. Come on. Yeah. Just kidding. Anyways, so omega balance. So this is what I want you guys to understand about omega balance. This is the term that I told you to remember earlier. Every single bite of food that you eat, it's going to have a certain percentage of omega-3s and a certain percentage of omega-6. I want you from this point on to think less, right, about amounts. Don't really think about amounts. Like, oh, this food, this is salmon. It has this much omega-3. Oh, this is fish oil. It has this much omega-3. Think about it less like that from this point forward. Think about omega-3s being a part of the whole. So every single bite of food that you take, if it has cells, in which it does, then those cells are composed, even veggies are composed of fats, and those fats are going to have formations of omega-3 and omega-6. every single bite of food that you eat. Omega balance. Okay, there's a problem though. This is how we assess omega balance. So we're going to zoom in here to get really granular. Oh, are we not full screen? Okay. So we're going to zoom in here. Thanks for putting up that popcorn. I actually meant a lot. That just made me emotional. Goodness, that was good to see that participation. Applaud you guys. All right, 1 second of an applause. So this is the idea of corn, right? So idea of corn. This is corn. So Nancy, thank you so much for the gift once more. So this is the omega balance concept. Just say the percentage of omega-3s. This is the concept that Anthony John Holbert expresses. And oftentimes we have this very obscure ratio. When we eat food, everybody's like, yeah, for every one omega-6, you get like 11 omega-3s. Like, it has a great omega ratio. And it's like, I get it, but I can't comprehend it fully. It's like ratios. I didn't go to grammar school, so you got to, you know what I mean? So for those of us that didn't complete grammar school, I make jokes. So this is how you say it. For corn, it has an omega balance of 3%. You simply consider the percentage of omega-3s, right? So it's this idea that every bite of food you eat is going to present itself with a percentage of polyunsaturated fatty acids. Some are omega-6, the rest are omega-3. That's how we're looking at it. So corn, this is how we say it, has an omega balance of 3%. Soybean has an omega balance of 20% or 20. What number is that? It's literally a 12. 12%. So that simplifies things greatly. But this also tells us a very nasty truth. Corn gives us negligible omega-3s, next to zero. I mean, for every bite of corn, the majority of the PUFAs you're consuming overwhelmingly are omega-6. The same is the case for soybean. 12%, you can scoff at it. This is how we contextualize it. This is how we make it make sense. So this is about how much food it takes to get 2.2 grams of polyunsaturated fatty acids from corn. You can basically fit in one hand how much corn in order to get 2.2 grams of polyunsaturated fatty acids, in which we know of those polyunsaturated fatty acids, it's mostly omega-6. So Johnny, slow down. What are you saying? What I'm saying is that this food, when you take a bite, the PUFAs that it does have are mostly omega-6. Now, this is about how many soybeans you'd need. And then really, we're talking about the chickens here because this is corn and soy, obviously. Look at how much more that soybeans have. So this is about 100 grams of soybeans, right? You need to eat this. The chicken needs to eat about this many soybeans in order to get 11 grams of polyunsaturated fatty acids. This is how much grass the chicken needs to eat to be able to get 1 gram of polyunsaturated fatty acids. This is about 100 grams of grass to get 1 gram of polyunsaturated fatty acids. In other words, a chicken needs to eat this much grass to get 1 gram of mostly omega-3s. Okay, I'm going to slow down because I do know this is kind of foreign for a lot of us. And I do want this to land and make sense. Any questions? This is turning into school real quick. It's turning into school real quick. Okay. Ask the questions as I go. But real quick, just to kind of slow it down a bit. This is grass, and our chickens, They're supposed to be grass fed. But the beauty of it is that this has 75% omega-3s for every bite. Junior Ace, this is going to require a loud quote, not going to lie. Yeah. So, yeah, right on, pal. So, yeah. So, this is kind of the perspective shift that I want us to have. It takes a lot of grass for chickens to even get omega-3s, but it takes next to nothing corn or soybean to actually get omega-6s. What we're running into is a density problem. Okay, let's make this make sense with human food. Red cabbage, it actually has a great amount of omega-3s. The omega balance we would say for this food is 55%. Omega-3s, 55% of the makeup. That means every bite of red cabbage we get, for the PUFAs in that red cabbage, 55% of them are omega-3s. That's awesome. This is what we need to know. Leaves have 3s, seeds have 6s. Leaves have omega-3s, seeds have 6s. So when we talk about seed and vegetable oil, we're extracting those oils from these seeds, and that's why the conversation is so prevalent about why we should stay away from these seed oils, because they overload our body with the pro-inflammatory omega-6 fat. But there's more to the story. So this is what John Anthony Hobart talks about in his book. Flax seeds, fire. Good question. So, leafy veggies, red cabbage, spinach. Let's slow down. Let's look at omega balance. Red cabbage, we established the omega balance is 55, right? All you say is how many omega-3s per bite out of the PUFA. 55%? Sure. So, omega balance is 3. Spinach, green veggie, leafy veggie, omega balance is 90. Holy moly. Holy moly. So this is what we say for green or for leafy veggies. This is what we say. Common leafy vegetables are at least 55% omega-3. You're not going to find any leafy vegetable that doesn't have less than a 55% omega-3 balance. Cabbage, I was doing the research from the book, has the lowest omega balance, and it's still a positive omega-3 effect. So red cabbage, something to go for. It's awesome. Spinach, something to go for. It's awesome. But here's what saddens my heart. We kind of have to go through each bit of this for this to kind of make sense. Here's what saddens my heart. These are the omega balances of soybean oil and corn oil. But let's talk about soybean oil first. Soybean oil has an omega balance of 12%. We talked about that. But for just a little bit less than a cup, about half a cup of soybean oil, so actually literally ignore that right side. Don't even look at it. For half a cup, this is insane. For half a cup of soybean oil, your body is ingesting 58 grams of polyunsaturated fatty acids. There is almost nothing that delivers polyunsaturated fatty acids, specifically made up of all these omega-6s, into your body quite like seed oil and vegetable oil does. I'm going to make this land in a little bit here. We can look at a very similar idea when we look at corn oil, which has an omega balance of 3. That's terrible. That's nothing. Corn oil is almost exclusively omega-6 in the conversation of its PUFAs. About a half cup of corn oil is going to land your body 55 grams of polyunsaturated fatty acids. The number isn't as important as it stands alone. The number becomes important when you look at what is relative. For example, I'll get back to that up there. Red cabbage. This is about how much red cabbage you'd need to get 1 gram of polyunsaturated fatty acids. See where we're going with this? This is about how much spinach you need to get 0.2 grams of polyunsaturated fatty acids. So what you see is this difference of density. We have a density problem. These healthy foods don't give us a lot of polyunsaturated fatty acids. But these seed oils give us a crap ton. And they're giving it to us in boatloads in very little amounts. So let's land this with some more practical stuff. Yes, Toto, love handle juice in a bottle. It's a guaranteed love handler handling. It handles your love handles for you. No, it seriously is insane how this works. So I took my favorite snack. I love me some Sunbelt granola bars, but this is also certified processed food. Sunbelt granola bars have soybean oil. Soybean oil, remember the omega balance, has 12% omega-3s, but it's virtually all omega-6. If you eat just one Sunbelt granola bar, you get a whopping 58 grams of polyunsaturated fatty acids off of one granola bar because it has soybean oil. That's still more than you get from these healthy foods. All right, so we're spinning it a few different ways. I know some of you guys are like, I'm still calculating, I'm not sure, but I know this is landing for some of you, but ask any specific questions if you want. Yes, this is the problem. About 15 potato chips. So Pringles uses corn oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, and sunflower oil. It's literally like the all-star team of seed oils. About 15 potato chips, and you're netting your body 3.5 grams of polyunsaturated fatty acids. So what you see between this 58, 55, 58, 0.58, 3.5, what you're seeing is this instant delivery of polyunsaturated fatty acids. What you're seeing is this overbearing density of omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids when you eat junk food, when you eat fast food and restaurant food, because they often cook their food in seed oils. So it's not that they are inherently bad, although you can make the argument that they are because of the way that they are processed. But if we really zoom into the mechanism, what we're seeing is this extreme density of polyunsaturated fatty acids, specifically omega-6. So let me make this make sense. Because we have this overload of omega-6, it literally is like if I challenge you to a race and I said, hey, I'm going to run 100 meters, but you run a marathon. Whoever finishes first wins. Guess who's going to win every single day of the week? I mean, you can wake me up at 3 a.m. and I'm still going to win that race. I'm going to win that race every single time. It's because I have a much shorter distance. You got to go a little bit farther to get to your finish line. Well, it's the same thing with omega-6 and omega-3. Omega-6 has a much shorter distance to deliver polyunsaturated fatty acids to your body. So it's doing it repeatedly over and over and over. And omega-6 keeps winning this race. Here's what we got to know about omega-6 and omega-3. They compete in the body. So the more that omega-6 continues to win this race, it's not that we just have too much omega-6, but it's the fact that omega-6 is continually taking up all the parking spots in the body. Omega-3 comes in and it can't do anything because it has nowhere to go because we eat foods like this that overload the body with omega-6. So even if we go out of our way to supplement our body with omega-3, it won't do much of anything because omega-6 is taking up all of the parking spots. Because it's running a shorter race, it's like it's cheating because of the delivery of how dense it is in omega-6. And that's all because of that principle that seeds have sixes. So when we put all of these foods And when we put all of these vegetable oils and these seed oils into our processed foods, they are fast tracking omega-6 into the body and stiff arming omega-3 out of the body. Did that help a little bit? Did that help a little bit? So sometimes you're watching a nerd. So I got a few things up my sleeve. Sure, I'm teaching it, right? But all I want to do is get us out of the idea that there's just a simple, I can just supplement this with omega-3s. I can just eat more omega-3s. It won't work. It won't do a dang thing, actually. You can't get anywhere until we get rid of the avalanche that is seed oils. Okay, Ninja Parade. I'm happy. Yes, makes sense. Junior Ace asked a great question. So does this mean no omega-6 at all? That's a great question. No, does not mean that. I think you would die. So it takes 3.5 whole red cabbages to get the same amount of polyunsaturated fatty acids, to get the same amount of PUFA eaten in just 15 potato chips. You literally need to eat. One of these can feed a family of 4. You need to eat 3.5 of these if you want to get the same amount of polyunsaturated fats you'd get from 15 Pringles. This is that marathon versus sprint that I'm talking about. Omega-6, and the way that it exists in our food industry, is constantly sprinting. Omega-3 is always taking the marathon route. So it gets beaten out because our foods that have omega-3 are not dense in omega-3. And that is the key difference. So, so what about salmon? And then what about eggs? Is it the whole thing about eggs, Johnny? Yeah, it absolutely is. So, here's the thing. We were never supposed to pay attention to omega balance. We were never supposed to look at foods and assess them based on how many omega-3s and omega-6 they have in the body. We were just supposed to eat food. We were never supposed to pay attention to molecules. We just advanced, and then we started paying attention to it, and it just so happens you get people like me that absolutely love the fact that we pay attention to it. So salmon, superfood. Let's just talk about it. It has an omega balance of 83%. What are we talking about, dog? Let's go, salmon. I used to pronounce salmon like salmon, and it was in a live stream that someone corrected me, and I never said it like that ever again. It's so sad how the industry refines you. Okay, sorry, I'm being too goofy. So that's the idea behind salmon, right? 83% omega balance. That's awesome. But here's the idea. You need about this much salmon, right? That could probably fit in the palm of your hand, right? You need about this much salmon to get 2.5 grams of polyunsaturated fatty acids. And we're just going to say, basically, you need this much salmon to get 2.5 grams of omega-3s. Let's just put it that way. Even though it does have some omega-6, obviously. But that's what we're getting at here. So, eggs, you need about this many eggs. And these are general pictures. I'm just kind of like, you kind of judge it, right? It's just 100 grams. Every picture here is 100 grams of each food. I should have maybe said that, but each picture here is 100 grams of each food. So this is 100 grams of eggs. It's not that lot. It's not a lot, right? And you get almost 2 grams of polyunsaturated fatty acids. These are your animal fats. So, I had a point on that. We were never supposed to pay attention to omega balance because it auto-balanced itself. It was only until we started consuming seed oils that we started to run into this issue of chronic inflammation, and we started to realize how bad it is to extract oil from these seeds and have that be introduced in every single packaged food, restaurant dish, and fast food dish, every eatery in America. It was a bad idea. That's why we had to start paying attention to omega-6 and omega-3. So yes, eggs are still a superfood, but they are not the biggest lever you can pull. And this is where we kind of land the plane. So we're bringing it full circle. Johnny, isn't this all about corn and soy? Yes, it's about corn and soy. But it's this idea that we are what our food ate. And that's why this is only relevant, because an egg is specifically adaptive of the nutrients that the animal eats, right? So the egg, it takes in a lot of fat soluble nutrients, right? That's why this conversation is even relevant. For example, omega-3, omega-6, obviously fat soluble nutrients. So they dictate the egg, right? An egg is literally just fat and protein. It's like 60% fat, 60% protein, 50%, 40% fat, right? It's just fat and protein. Don't quote me on that. What is it? I wrote that down somewhere. Don't quote me on that. But it's just fat and protein. But it's just the idea that the egg will take up what the chicken eats. Simple enough. So it's interesting because it's still a hero food. It just isn't the biggest lever to pull because it takes this many eggs in order to even get just 2 grams of omega-3, mostly omega-3, right? From the polyunsaturated fat conversation. And that's still less than the freaking 15 chips from the Pringles. So what are we talking about? You will never be able to eat enough omega-3s ever. It's impossible. You can't do it. You will never be able to do it. Eggs don't do it for you. Fish don't do it for you. Spinach, cabbage, you will never be able to eat enough omega-3s. We have too much omega-6. There's too much. We will never be able to get away from it by supplementing. Fish oil won't save you. A pasture-raised, grass-fed, non-corn soy-fed eggs won't save you, because that's the other thing about these eggs. These could be pasture-raised. These could be, fed corn and soy from a conventional system, or fed corn and soy from a pasture-raised system, which is non-GMO. You're still getting those, you're getting more omega-3, but even on the high end, you just can't get enough polyunsaturated fatty acids to overtake what work these omega-6s are doing from our food system. Okay. I'm going to tell you the biggest lever you can pull. This is solution time. We made it. Science talk is virtually over. I hope the plane landed for most of us. Shoot me an email. I don't care. Whatever you need to have this land for you. You can ask me whatever. But so this is how we actually pull the lever. This is just a citation. This is just a study. But this is how we pull the lever. If you actually want to fix the omega balance in your body, these are the biggest levers that you can pull. That's actually this over here. I'll get to that in a bit. This before we get there, sorry. This is what I want you guys to focus on. Whole meal omega balance. Every single thing that you bite is going to come with an omega balance that we know we express as just a percentage of omega-3s. So that means that if I eat a piece of salmon, right, we just seen it has an omega balance of 88. So that means for every bite of salmon that I eat, I'm getting 88% omega-3s of the polyunsaturated fatty acids that are in that food. I think it's 88. Let's double check that. Oh, 83. So this is what I want you to pay attention to. So in this study, they fed participants 3 different meals. They fed participants salmon and salad, filet-o-fish. Ooh, filet-o-fish makes a return. Can't stand that thing. That thing is weird. And then you got fish and chips. Look at how the omega balance decreases. Remember, omega balance is just how many omega-3s make up the PUFAs in the food. 80% in a salmon and salad. It went to 14% with a fish meal from McDonald's. And then it went to 4% with fish and chips. Look at the jump. No more do we kind of think about like, it's tough. Because yes, on one hand, it's important, think about specific foods. But this is a beautiful study that shows that actually, let me put this in chat too, just so it's in history. What this actually shows is that it's important to focus on your entire meal. And I'm going to give you guys some, I later found out I'm allergic to soy. Dang. That's crazy. Yes. Op Figure, you're cooking. I say her name right. I hope I did. Yeah, it's because it's fried in seed oil. Yeah. Filet-O-fish is fried in seed oil. Fish and chips fried in seed oil. So, yeah, that's kind of the idea, right? So let's figure out what levers we can pull. Okay, let me add this here. I had a note that I left, but let me reattach that over here. 2 seconds. Oh, a little elevator music. 2 seconds. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Stop it. Stop it. Gosh, this music is too good. You guys want to know okay, pet peeve right before we get into this, just real quick. I have a serious pet peeve. We actually got to talk about this. I'm not even kidding. It's 2026. If I call a company and I get a robot on the other line, and then the robot puts me on hold, and it blasts that low quality, fuzzy sounding elevator music, how have we still not fixed this in 2026? How does it still sound terrible to be on hold on the phone? Oh my God, I hate it. We have self-driving cars. I can have food delivered to me in 40 minutes. Hot. We have AI. And it still get these whack answering machines when I make a call. It's the most weird thing. We know that we want to have a human on the line first off, but the fact that I can't get the human, then you want to subject me to this torture of low frequency music that sounds like it was made on a fart machine, on a fart instrument. It's always bad. I don't know a single company that has clean and clear, like, wait on hold music. It's always bad. And sometimes it's a shame because they'll play some really nice jazz and you'll be like, I can tell this was fire in the jam session when they actually originally recorded it. But I guess it sucks now because we haven't fixed anything in 2026. It's like the one area that we haven't given any attention to. It bothers me. It's psychological warfare. Oh my God, it's so bad. Adam, voice calls are low fidelity, high compressions audio streams. Okay, Adam, fine. Fine. I got another one. Oh my God, truth over facts. He says, try canceling your internet provider. Xfinity? I know you'll never sponsor me, but you can like miss a step on your way down the stairs. You can seriously twist your ankle. I'm not kidding. Like, Xfinity? You sons of guns? Ooh, I might switch over. You know how hard it is to get a human on? You know what? It's not even, I'm sorry. We're free falling now. I have to call Xfinity so often that I got their number saved. I'm not playing. I'm like, y'all, I'm not, what are we talking about? And then when they get on there, okay, so I moved a bunch of times, and when you try to cancel them, oh my gosh. When you try to cancel them, I might as well just teleport myself back to like high school algebra because I can't solve the problem. I'm like, bruh, I just want you to cancel. And then they're like, why? Why do you want to cancel? And I'm like, oh, I'm moving and I'm about to be roommating and my roommates have internet already, whatever the case may be. Oh, okay, then we'll just transfer your Wi-Fi over. I'm like, no, I'm going to have Wi-Fi already where I'm going. I just need to cancel. Okay, just give us a moment and then we're going to update your address. We're going to send you the final bill and then we could talk about why you want to cancel. And I'm like, I just told you. It's the craziest thing. Oh my gosh. Why, bruh? What? Yeah, it's psychological warfare. All right, last one, because I actually wanted to share this tangent. I thought it was super funny. So you guys do know Feed the Land on May 15th. That's our initiative. Feed the Land is our initiative to bridge our local sustainable farmers to those in low food secure areas. We just had an amazing giveaway event on May 15th. Thank you guys so much. Those of you that support it. Nurios, you have no idea what you covered. Let me just put it that way. But that was this past May 15th. You guys will see impact for that and a whole bunch of stuff come out. So after the event, the funniest thing happened. We had these big coolers and we had to put a bunch of ice in these coolers to be able to give the food out, right? So we gave out pasture-raised eggs. These are people that are getting pasture-raised chicken and eggs that have never eaten it before, right? So we felt great. They felt great. It was awesome, right? Boosting food security. You can learn more by checking the description. Anyways, we had these big old coolers and we had so much ice. I had an ice man. I'm like, dude, you got to run and make sure this food stays cool. So you just kind of keep going to the store, you get the ice. And it was the funniest thing ever. After it was all said and done, I brought the truck home and we still had all this leftover ice. And there were some Latinos down the alleyway moving, some Latino men, and they were moving their friend into a home. And they were clearly hot. It was a hot, sunny day. They were sweating. And I'm way down the alley. And then I got this extra ice and I put it up and I say, hey guys, ice? Question mark. And they looked at me and they were like, oh, yes. See. And then when I brought them the ice, they were like, hey, we were going to start running, my friend. I was like, and then it took for me a minute to land. I was like, wait, why were you about to run? And then I was like, oh, yeah, duh. Okay. It was the funniest thing. It was the funniest thing. And then one of my neighbors had asked for some ice. And for like the next 5 minutes, I was just giving out ice to the block. It was the weirdest thing. But I was cracking up over that. I was like, yo, that's a real time funny right there. Like, oh, man, I love Chicago. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, I hope those guys moved in nice and safely and, you know, that they are able to, you know, get in where they fit in and do their thing, man. So, yeah. Oh, man. Anyways. All right, let's talk about the lever. No more tangent. Focus. All right. So this is how you correct your omega balance. The first thing. Get rid of seed oils entirely. Like, entirely. You gotta cut them. And it's only because of the parking lot theory. This is mine. I originated it. I coined it because I'm obsessed over omega-6 and omega-3. I love it. It's fun stuff to talk about. But the parking lot theory works like this. First off, these two fatty acids compete. So that means that there are designated areas for these fatty acids to go. Much like when you arrive at a parking lot, when you take a spot, you can't park another car in that spot. It's the same idea with omega-6 and omega-3. We park so many omega-6 seed oils in our body, and once they're parked there, they can't go anywhere, and omega-3 can't park there. So no matter how much we flood our bodies with omega-3, it hardly matters if we're consuming this high dense omega-6 fat through our seed oils, and they are prevalent in basically the moment you step outside of your door. You have like a 95% chance you're going to be consuming seed oils. It's a sad reality, but there are some seed oil free restaurants. Just ask the chef. Free oil seed meals, you know, find your way around them. So yeah, that's the first one. When we keep it flipped or whatever. Second one, get full on leafy veggies. So we do know that even our leafy veggies don't give us a lot of omega-3s. But again, remember the purpose of food. We were never supposed to focus on omega balance. We were always supposed to focus on the food itself, right? We eat food, not molecules. But if you think about our ancestral diets before we ate seed oils, I mean, in like 1960, I want to say, there was this, if you can look at a graph, I wish I had it handy, but there was this insane vertical increase of consumption of seed oils in about the mid 1900s. But before that, our diets didn't really have much, and we passively controlled that omega balance, right? It was automated just by the foods that we ate. So even though we can't get a lot of omega-3s from our leafy veggies, they are not as dense in PUFAs, right, as other foods, they still have the greatest omega balance. So if you get full, right, and this just means to add it on the side. This doesn't mean you have to eat a freaking salad every time you have dinner. It just means that if you have food, maybe consider, if you have a meal, maybe consider a side salad or some dark leafy greens or whatever to kind of supplement that meal. Add it to the base, put it on the side, put some really delicious olive oil, salt, vinegar, do your whole thing, right? And the idea is to fill your stomach up with this. That way, not only are you full, but you are full on this food that still gives you an opportunity to have these omega-3s. Even though it isn't a high amount, you're full on foods that you're full on this. It's better to be full on this than full on foods that do give you a lot of omega-6. So yeah. Let's keep going. Oh, if you want to go to Mega Balance, you have to like this video. I don't know how that got in there. Sorry. So anyways, seriously, like the video. So go for wild caught seafood is the next one. Wild caught seafood actually has a greater has a greater amount of a greater percentage, right? Greater omega balance than conventional seafood. Now, I know all of us ain't balling. Some of this stuff is more expensive. Let's not talk about this stuff as if it's all for the cheap. It costs a grip sometimes. But even conventional seafood still has a positive omega balance. And this goes for virtually all seafood. It's just something about their diets, right? They eat algae, you know, that stuff. They eat that and it gives them a lot of omega-3s. So it's interesting because we're like, yeah, I need more omega-3s. Let's go ahead and eat some fish oil to supplement some fish oil. But that's the funny part because fish don't endogenously make omega-3s. They eat food, right? So it's like fish oil is secondhand omega-3s, right? Omega-3s are basically just come from like leafy greens, right? That's kind of the idea. Or leafy veggies. What's up? What's up, JC? Denise, hello. Hi. Was there a question? Oh, okay. Wild caught seafood and then supplement with chia and flax. You can be so creative with chia or flax. So someone asked about flax earlier. These are seeds, and you remember we talked about it, that seeds actually come with a low omega balance and relatively high amount of omega-6, right? But it's interesting that these two seeds do not have that profile. Chia and flax seeds are the complete opposite. They have a positive omega balance. Here, I can pull up a reference from his book real quick. See if we can find it. Let's see how many omega-3s you get from chia and flax. Elevator music. Silence, I found it. All right, so chia seed, holy moly, has a 79% omega balance. That means for all the PUFA you eat, out of a bite of chia seeds, 79% of them are omega-3. That's incredible. For flax, let's see. Oh, he may not have flax here. Flax is probably comparative. Yeah, I'm pretty sure flax has a similar amount. But yeah, so anyways, those are positive omega-3 foods. You can put them in your smoothie, or you can, I cannot remember what I made, but I swear I used ground flax to crust up some food recently. And it turned out good because ground flax has like that nutty flavor. I can't remember what it was, but I cooked some kind of meat or something. But it's just a cool little addition that you could add into your dishes. Can you tell us about sesame, please? Okay, let me see what we got here. So if you're talking about sesame seed oil, then I don't have to say anything much more than that, because if it's sesame seed oil, then what do we know about seed oils? They are rich in omega-6, but I'll give you some specific numbers here. So sesame oil has an omega balance of 1. So sesame oil has no omega-3 virtually. Every teaspoon you consume of sesame oil has virtually no omega-3. Now, this isn't something to get anal about, or, you know, something. Yeah, it's no need to get anal. It's just education. That's all. It's not to say that we can't ever have junk food or seed oils. It's just this idea that it's just a greater understanding of it, since we do measure them now. But if you're talking about, now that's sesame oil, but it goes the same way for the sesame food as well. What you will understand is that the oil of these foods works the same way as the flesh of these foods and the seeds of these foods. So if sesame oil has a 1 omega balance as the oil, then the food itself, the food itself has 1 omega balance. And that also means that the seed, right, the literal seed, has 1 omega balance as well. I got even more for you. Time out. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. I got even more for you. What's up, Mr. Lee? Tim Lee in the house. What up? We Care Chicago in the house. Let's go. And flaxseed oil. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. I'll tell you about flaxseed oil. Let's look at this real quick. So flaxseed oil is the same exact idea. So if flaxseed also has a positive omega-3 percentage, right? So if you get a lot of omega-3s out of flaxseed, that means flaxseed oil isn't going to differ that much. So flaxseed oil, rich in omega-3s, just like the flaxseed flesh itself. So it's pretty good. 66%. That's positive. That's pretty good. So generally speaking, anything over like 30 for any given food is pretty good. I personally would say. Now, there's an important question that I'm surprised nobody asked yet. And that is, what should our body balance be? If our foods all come with this omega balance, what should our bodies have, right? So I will not give you a specific number, but I can tell you that 50-50 is actually attainable. You can actually have just as much omega-3s in your bodies as you have omega-6. We are not that far gone. I'll also give you a little bit of hope and tell you that the turnaround time to change the omega-3s and omega-6 in your body is responsive. You can do this in 2 weeks, and maybe even less, right? Because our cells turnover is constant. So if you want to start incorporating some of these things, then you can actually enjoy a greater omega balance for your health, your longevity, for everything. This impacts everything. So yeah. Just real quick, because I thought sesame oil was here. Yes, it was. So real quick, this is just a fatty acid. I'm just going to move this. This is just a fatty acid composition of common fats and oils. So this is handy and it's dandy. I'm going to get out the way and let some of you guys screenshot this so you can have it. And I want you to just take a screenshot and just kind of understand your fats, right? So if you want that. So I'll talk about it as it's kind of sitting there. If you want to screenshot it. So the way that this works is every fat is a percentage of the fats. And I probably should have started with this, but the fats, there's the saturated fat, there's the mono unsaturated fat, and there's the poly unsaturated fat. Ooh, sardines are great. You're cooking with that one. So what we're looking at here is the percentage of total for each of these fats. So when we look at something like sesame oil, because it was brought up, we have that in the polyunsaturated category. And as you can see, visually, it has a lot more blue and a lot less of the other colors. And that just means that it is that fat. I can't really explain this as well without the race analogy that I used before in the video. I grew up in a primarily black neighborhood, right? But of course, we only call it a black neighborhood because it has mostly black people. But we have a few white folk too. And it's kind of that idea that if you look at food, or particularly these oils and these fats, like neighborhoods, you can kind of get a decent idea of it, that every race, right, is present in the neighborhood. It's just which race is the most prominent. And it's the same idea here with the fatty acids. Every fatty acid is present, but it's which one is the most prominent. All right, you got your screenshots. I know you guys want to see my beautiful face. Sorry. All right. Yes, it is, Ninja. I swear I don't be thinking y'all be watching my videos. Not y'all, but like, I'd be so shocked when somebody call backs on a video of mine. I'd be like, you seen that? It's the weirdest thing. Because I got some weird videos out there. I got some videos that got like 14 or 20K views. And somebody be like, yeah, you talked about that. I'll be like, you seen that? Last thing. Again, eggs are not the biggest lever to pull if you really want to correct your omega-3 and omega-6 balance. But I still want you to get your eggs locally. So we started off talking about corn and soy feeding. Corn and soy is okay. It's the most robust and efficient way to feed our animals, pasture raised, conventional, or otherwise. And it just makes plain sense. I absolutely abhor factory farming. I abhor conventional farming. And I still recognize that without corn and soy, they would not be able to feed those animals. I recognize on the regenerative grass-fed pasture raised model, we would not be able to feed our chickens our chickens without corn and soy in certain regions of the nation as well. It's this idea that we've gotten up in arms about corn and soy, but it ain't going nowhere for once, and for two, your local farmers using them too. Now, the only reason I'm okay with this is because, again, eggs are not the biggest lever to pull. Corn, and there are alternatives, right? Yes, you can literally get eggs that are supplemented, that are grass-fed and supplemented with feed that is not corn and soy, but it's still something, right? Some do, like, there's specialty eggs out there. But I'm going to be honest with you. You're not going to eat them because they're going to be expensive. So you'll never find them. And if you do, then you're going to not like them because those supplemental feeds is going to introduce a taste that you're not used to. So that's kind of the idea behind corn and soy. And that's why I wanted everyone in this stream to be more abreast of what we're actually talking about here when it comes to omega-3 and omega-6. So even with all of that, I still have 13 reasons to still choose local pasture raised, even with corn soy feed. For one, I wrote them down. You get 38% more vitamin A, even on a corn and soy feed. Again, remember the difference though. Your local grass feeding pasture raising farmer is not using that GMO pesticide ridden stuff. They aren't, but they're using corn and soy. But they aren't using the nasty stuff. You get 2 times the omega-3s. You get 100% more vitamin E. That's literally a potent antioxidant in your body. And you get twice as much when you eat your your locally farmed eggs, right? Which is likely and I'm talking about not just local because it's close. I'm talking about, when I say local, I'm kind of using it as an umbrella term. Like, yeah, they're likely regenerative pasture feeding. Because here's the thing. If you can buy direct from your farmer, then they likely are doing a lot of things right. They're probably in a system that you value, because the farmers that are not, that are caging their birds and, they're conventional, you can't approach them. So that's kind of the idea behind that. Number 4, they are more nutrient dense in less. Oh, they're more nutrient dense in lesser known nutrients like carotenoids, which are also antioxidants or anti-inflammatory. I think they're just antioxidants. Really same thing. The 5th reason, you get to support your local farmer. You vote for a more centralized food system. 6, you skirt greenwashing policies, monopolies, right? Vital Farms, all of those big guys, they put all of the crap on their thing like cage free range to get you to buy, but it's the same exact system. They're still using GMO, pesticide, nasty feed. Their birds never see sunlight, but they get to use all of those industry captured terms. You vote for diverse, greener pastures teeming with biodiversity instead of sterile monocropping. I wish I had some pictures to show you guys the difference, but that's really the idea. Oh, I might have a picture. You guys want to see a preview of a thumbnail? All right, where's this gonna pop up at? You guys want to see a preview of a thumbnail? Let me see. Preview. Where's that? Yeah, it's a rough version, but look at that. This was formerly monocropped land. What you're looking at is so this was corn, right? A lot of times this farmland looks like, oh, it's at the point of no return. It may take a little bit of intervention, but we can get this land back. But yeah, monocrop systems is basically, hey, you grow one thing, right? And you absolutely miss out on all of the biodiversity benefits of having multiple species, right? Absolutely boosting, the microorganisms and the there's a word that's escaping me. It's literally like core to this argument, but I can't think of the word. But nonetheless, I just wanted to show you like the idea behind monocropping is you farm one thing, and that's just not normal. For all the acreage that we have available to farm one thing. Interesting video on that coming out Monday. Oh my God. There's going to be another video coming out Monday. Yeah, let's go. I think you guys are going to like it. I'm on the farm wave heavy, so I'm so sorry if you ain't been tapped into farming like me. But I will say, that there's going to be some more mixed content coming out too. What number would I leave off on? What was that, 7? Number 8, you avoid ingestion of glyphosate and have chemical-free peace of mind. Number 9, you vote for farmer prosperity instead of vulnerable farmers dependent on government income. Jesus, yeah, it's two different sides. It's like you can vote for your farmer to be protected with their own dollar going straight to them, or you can kind of bet on that farmer being vulnerable. It's just vulnerable when you're in the conventional system because you're dependent on government dollars. You undermine big food's industry manipulation. That's number 10. Number 11, you inadvertently protect farmland from being developed. Literally. Number 12, you have better tasting meals. Number 13, it says like the video. I don't know who put that there. Huh. You guys better do what that says. I'm unsure. You should probably like the video. Let's keep going. Number 14, you know where your food comes from. You get that peace of mind. God, I'm turning into a hippie. Ooh, yeah, the Great Dust Bowl. Goodness. How y'all living? How we feel after all that? Questions, comments, complaints, concerns? How y'all feeling? Let's get some motion in the ocean. Inserted notes from production. How y'all feeling? Where y'all watching from? It's an easy thing to chat. If you're ever in chat, you want to be like, hey, I don't know, I'm kind of new here. I don't know what to say. Just say, hey, watching from X. And tell me where you're watching from. Just get active. Get your fingers typing. It feels good. It feels good to be a part of a community. Okay. Mind blown. That's awesome. Puts a lot in perspective. That's even awesome. That's even awesomer. It's awesome to put things in perspective. What else? What else? What else? Yes. I didn't even talk about conversion. I hear you, Nat. Yeah. Nat, you know, I'm bad at usernames, but yeah. Conversion is another piece of it. Salmon, for example, has readily available DHA and EPA, which can be, you know, it can be taken from linolenic acid, right? It can, but like you said, the conversion is minimal. That's a great input there. Yeah. So what did we learn? Yeah, eat your greens, but yeah, get your freaking fish too, because they have readily available DHA and EPA. That's a point that I actually honestly forgot during this whole thing. That's great. Oh, there's a lot more. There's a lot more where that came from, bacon. There's a lot more. I want to give you guys action to take if you're one of those kinds of people. Ah, Junior Ace.
Thank you for your patronage.
Yo, like up that message, y'all. Like up that message. Appreciate the 10, Junior Ace. Appreciate that. W Stream, if you're a hot hippie chick who can't get enough of protesting Monsanto, please set up my boy John Ace. I take back all my sound effects. I am unappreciative of the 10. I don't want it. Take it back. Refund. Get your refund. No, I'm just kidding. I really appreciate that. Yeah. If you like big hats and cowboy boots, hit me up. Oh man, you're gonna be a problem. Okay, so action to take if you're interested. So the American Pastured Poultry Producers. These are the big guys. So what you're looking at here is a very interesting interaction. Vital Farms, they've been posting, you know, they've been doing a lot of damage control, and it came out with the post. Who cares what the post says? American Pastured Poultry Producers came out and commented under, and they were like, hey, Vital Farms, will you be commenting publicly on the FDA and the USDA petitions to have laying hens on pasture 51% of their lives? So if you don't know, Pastured Poultry Producers are the leading kind of representative of this pastured poultry movement, right? So they are trying to standardize the word pasture raised so that big companies can't use it as this greenwash term that manipulates everyone. And they actually have some petitions, and I did not put those in the freaking description like I thought. But yeah, if you want that word standardized, go to American Pastured Poultry Producers, go over to like the news section, and then like you can find it on their website. Basically, just type in American APPPA or American Pastured Poultry Producers. It'll come right up, and you literally can just sign a petition. I did it. Here's mine, and you can do it too. That's if you're someone that wants to take action. If you're kind of one of those YouTube people that's like, yo, it's Saturday, I'm not doing squat, I respect that too. Should I talk about Feed the Land? So yeah, we had an amazing event, May 15th. Thanks to you guys who have contributed. If you have not contributed, consider going below and learning more about Feed the Land. We are bridging our local farmers to those dealing with food insecurity and those living in food deserts. Trying to build a more localized system that boosts food agency. So we have a co-participation model. What that means is we don't just stop at handing stuff out. In fact, we don't do really much of anything to hand things out. We meet our participants halfway. So what we're trying to do is encourage them to be able to choose. And we do this by using donor dollars to break down massive barriers like cost and transportation. And these barriers allow those low access people to partake of these foods from these farms. But they still have to make a choice. And that choosing allows them to adopt a little bit more food agency. And I believe that is what will really change low food access. It's a long suffering problem. It takes a lot of work, and we're still learning more about what that means and what it takes. But if you want to learn more about Feed the Land, go down below, and you guys will be seeing impact on that real soon. For those that have already contributed, you will see it hopefully next month. I hope so, because we've already had some fun with May 15th and stuff. Seed oils are bad, but are seeds themselves bad for your diet? So you still get the same amount of, you still get the omega balance. So for example, if you eat the soybean and not the soybean oil, you still do get that greater percentage of omega-6s. Yes. But the seed oil, I recommend going in the description and watching the video right after the stream on seed oil. You get some people who say it's not bad. Those people are a little weird to me, but I do understand what they're saying. At the end of the day, it's food. Is any food actually good or bad, right? It's kind of that whole relative conversation. I think seed oils are still bad because of the levels of processing it takes, including the fact that it's processed with a chemical called hexane that's associated with cancer, if I'm not mistaken. Watch the video, and I talk about hexane in it. So you skirt all of that if you just eat the soybean. I will never steer anyone away from whole foods, period, point blank. I honestly rather you not even think about omega-3s and omega-6s and just get rid of junk food. It'll fix it itself. It'll autocorrect if you just get rid of junk food. And it's not to say you can't ever eat it. It's just to say that if you are serious about it, that's the lever to pull. Big seed oil. Cool. I'm so glad you guys learned stuff. What are these? Oh, these are just like Instagrams. If you guys want to see like chicken in action, this is where you can go. These are like big time producers of chicken, and they're like what Vital Farms was supposed to be. So this is Pasture Bird. I'm just gonna show them real quick, and you guys can put them in Instagram if you want. This is White Oak Pastures. This farm was founded by Will Harris, who was on the podcast with Joe Rogan. White Oak Pastures. You got Polyface Farm, which is arguably the most popular farm in the world. And you have Fed from the Farm, which is out here. Not out here. It's in Missouri, I think. Great guy who runs that. You have Alexander Family Farm. Beautiful family farm. I met some of these guys too, or one of these guys. Green Pastures Chicken out in Texas. Yeah. This is in California. This is Beyond Pasture. Wait, what are the name of these guys? Happy Hens. Omega-9 doesn't really matter. It's negligible. In the context of human physiology, it does matter, but not really that much. It's nothing to worry about. Because I think there's like omega-7 or something too. Omega-7, omega-9, they're not as important as omega-3 and omega-6. That's why we have these huge, long conversations about them. Some very good wine, you say. Okay, I need to get off of this stream. I'm going to go eat some pasture-raised eggs. Streaming is so fun, though. It is fun. That's why you guys need to encourage me to do it more often. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me in this one. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Let's get some purple hearts in the chat. Purple hearts, purple hearts. Let's go. Light it up, light it up. Purple hearts, purple hearts. Appreciate y'all's time. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Purple hearts, purple hearts. You guys are the best. Learn more about Feed the Land below. Enjoy the rest of y'all's weekend. I'm gonna get about y'all way.